Are you ready, Tamara? All right. The 3 o'clock hour is upon us. At this time, I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting for the Delaware Local Transportation Commission to order. Can we please stand together and pledge the flag of our great nation? All right, thank you. At this time, can we call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Altman?
Here.
Commissioner Borges?
Here.
Commissioner Dooley?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Here.
Commissioner Short?
Here.
Chair Greeno.
I am here, thank you. With that, we will move on to our public comment period. Anyone wishing to make public comments regarding matters either on or off the agenda and within the Commission's jurisdiction may do so at this time. However, the Commission is not permitted to act on non-agendized items. Is there any public comment at this time? Seeing no public comment, we will pull it back to the board. And at this time, we're going to adjourn to the Policy Advisory Committee and move to our consent agenda. Our consent agenda has several items on it. We have the minutes of July 1st, 2025. We have a resolution 2025-08 authorizing the executive director and legal counsel to execute fund transfer agreements and all related documents for planning, programming, and monitoring funds. Item C is Resolution 2025-09, authorizing the executive director to execute the master agreements and all related documents for carbon reduction program funding, as well as item D, awarding the contract for carbon reduction planning.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
We have a motion by Commissioner Short. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing no public comment, bring it back to the commission for a vote.
Commissioner Altman?
Yes.
Commissioner Borges?
Yes.
Commissioner Dooley?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Short?
Yes.
Policy Advisory Member Allstrand?
She said,
Sorry to say yes.
I didn't hear her say yes, but I saw it.
You can see her say yes. Oh,
Still nothing.
still can't hear you. We see that you're off of mute, Tasha, but
Cannot hear you.
cannot hear you.
Is that, I see on my screen, oh, can you click that yes for Andreas Kraus?
No, we
Nope,
can't
not-
hear you.
not yet.
You're speaking, but we can't hear you.
Nope.
Um,
I love how we can read her lips saying, "Can you hear me now?"
I'm going to stop my sharing. Don't need that anymore.
That's odd.
This is Andreas. Can you hear me?
Andre?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can, loud and clear.
Yes. Okay.
Is Tasha a panelist? Is she?
Tasha, can
No.
you hear me as well or no?
We cannot hear Tasha.
So Tasha, when I logged on, there was a thing, can't hear, turn up the volume. I had to click on that before they could hear me or I could hear them.
I could hear Tasha when she was on, so I don't know if it's, I don't know what end it's on, but I could hear her.
Okay.
No,
we can't hear you,
we
Tasha.
cannot.
That's interesting. Jen can hear her, but we can't. So.
Have her blink once for yes and two for no.
Any thoughts on Tasha's? Okay, okay.
Now, can you hear me?
Hey,
Oh,
there she is.
it's working now.
Right on.
Okay.
Welcome to the
Gosh,
meeting,
I'm so
Tasha.
sorry, everyone. Glad I got to work.
And your vote was?
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool.
Perfect. Apologize, let me pull my agenda. Okay, there it is. At this time, we will move on to our discussion items, US 101, 199 and 197 project update.
Okay. Good afternoon. Can folks hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Good afternoon. My name is David Melendrez. I'm a project manager here in District 1. And I was lucky enough to inherit this project, take it from the environmental phase through the design phase, and get this out there ready to bid. First, I'll give a real quick thing about the project. Purpose of the proposed project is construct improvements at spot locations along State Route 197, United States Highway 199 in Delaware County to allow reclassification of State Route 197, US 199 corridor as part of the STAA network truck routes. These improvements include widening lanes, modifying curved geometry at identified locations to accommodate standard STAA size vehicles while maintaining and improving safety for the traveling public. Quick couple things. So the budget. This project received full funding at the August 15th CTC meeting. We received $51 million to move forward on this project. As far as that schedule, we're putting together the necessary information to advertise the project. And we expect to advertise the project on somewhere around October 3rd, October 6th. The project will be in an advertisement for 6 weeks. So we expect to get our bids in on November 4th or November 7th, right in that area. Let's see, after that, after the bids go out 6 weeks, we get approval of the contract. Then we get the final approval of the contract about a month later. So we expect that to occur sometime in December with a 55-day delayed start. That's standard as part of our contracts. We expect the project to start construction in the spring. Let's see, a couple quick things. Okay, schedule, bridge, yep, okay. So I'll go ahead, I just put together this real quick presentation here to try to walk through some of the important parts of the project. You guys can still see my screen. So this project is comprised of 9 different locations of work, both on 197 and 199. A lot of these locations we have given nicknames to. You'll probably hear it throughout the course of the project. Washington Curve, Patrick Creek Narrows, the Narrows. These are nicknames that have been put on these, and I assume more than likely that's what they'll be referred to in construction. Talking to Caltrans staff, the contractors, they'll start referring to this sort of nicknames, if you will. This is State Route 197. At all 7 locations, there will be curve corrections as well as widening to allow the STA trucks to safely negotiate the curves. Currently, they're not allowed to do that without sometimes crossing over the double yellow line, which is not acceptable. We need to improve the safety of these routes. See, and this is another critical part of the project, is that it's right next to the Smith River, the most pristine river in the state of California. It is by far a very pristine river. It does have me a little bit nervous because I know that during the summer, this river is crystal clear. You can see the bottom, any sort of stormwater discharges, may cause turbidity. So we're a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about that just because I know how pristine this area is. And we'll have the resource agencies looking over our shoulders. This is a picture of the bridge. I wanted to show this because the bridge is actually the critical path for construction of this project. This is the location that will take all of the working days for this project are really dependent upon this bridge location. Unfortunately, we had a few restrictions placed on at the end, placed on it by CDFW in terms of work during the winter. So we estimate that the work at this location will take approximately 485 working days. That's a long time. After that, we have permanent erosion control establishment. That's another 250 working days. Of course, we don't have heavy equipment out there. They're not working. This is more of just maintaining the existing plantings that are out there. That's estimated to be about 250 working days. So a total of 735 working days for this project. This is underneath the bridge. And this is part of the reason that this is the critical path, because as you can see, the structure of the bridge is right above the river. So we have restrictions about working up below ordinary high water as well as below top of bank. The new bridge will have this same sort of arch treatment. It'll be wider. I've seen the designs. It's going to be a really nice bridge. And as you can see, as we know, that it's a very tight alignment on this highway. That's part of the, let's say, the challenges for this project was to establish efficient traffic control, what it would look like, number of locations. And in this case, we know that given this situation, that there is going to be a lot of rock excavation here. It will likely entail blasting. And for that reason, the traffic control for this project is to close the highway from 10 to 2, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. That way we can accelerate the work at this location. Again, this is not the critical path, but this is the one in which we do have to close the highway. We have a lot of restrictions. We can't let any of the rock get into the river. So this is a portion of the project that I would say that the geotechnical engineering group with Caltrans spent many, many, many hours on. We actually had interviews with 5 different blasting contractors to talk to them, find out what's critical, find out what we need to do. And they all said, minimum of 4 hours of closure. Some days it may be longer, some days it may be a little bit shorter, but that's kind of the challenge for this location here. Let's see, what else did I have that I'd like to share? Yeah, oh, one more thing, yeah. So we are having a mandatory pre-bid meeting for the contractors, and we expect that to occur sometime in last week of October. That's what we expect, to have a mandatory pre-bid meeting for the contractors. The contractors, in order to bid on the project, have to participate in the mandatory pre-bid meeting. It is part of the requirements. And during that pre-bid meeting, it's not a question and answer meeting. It's Caltrans giving presentations. But one of the things we are going to try to say, without coming right out and say it, is that we are looking for innovations, in particular the bridge location, since this is the critical path, any innovations to accelerate the work at this location. And the area construction engineer is Clayton Malmberg, and he will be giving a presentation at that mandatory pre-bid meeting. And he is very much in favor of accelerating the work at this location so that we can speed up the project and maybe finish it a season early. That's kind of our hopes on that. This was a very long project. And again, we're looking for innovations from the contractors in terms of how they're going to work at various locations with regard to traffic control. We will have a signal at this location. So there will be both reverse flagging traffic control as well as a signal here, and then also a closure of the highway for 4 hours at a minimum, actually, so that we can try to accelerate the construction of this project as much as possible. 5 years is a long construction period. We know that. So we're looking for suggestions by the contractor how they can accelerate the work. That's what we're really looking for in terms of trying to accelerate this project so that there is not a burden on the traveling public for traveling through this. I know that, the fires here a couple years ago, there was a lot of traffic control, and we'd like to try to keep that to a minimum to accelerate the project. That's about all I had to present today. I'm working on this presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that folks might have. Okay. Thank you
Commissioner
for your
Short?
time. Appreciate
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
David, this is Darren Short. I'm on the county board of supervisors.
Yeah.
Just heard you say, part of the restrictions you have is, with the blasting is not letting any rocks in the river. And I know you probably find this hard to believe, but that river got a whole bunch of rocks on the bottom of it. I was just wondering where.
It's all rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To me, this kind of restriction is kind of crazy. I'm just wondering where those come from and where can an elected body go to kind of lobby for some more common sense kind of construction rules. Where do these restrictions come from? I mean, we've got another bridge project going on in Delaware County right now, and I believe they're like a year behind already, and I'm made to understand that that's from some other kind of very restrictive rules as well, so.
It is primarily CDFW and NIMS, but I will say that we have talked to NIMS, and they have cut us some slack already with this project. In terms, originally there was going to be no construction during the winter, and we're like, no, that's not feasible. So we worked with them we can work during the winter. We just have restrictions when it's a rain event. But other than that, I thought the same thing, but we are, we know we're not going to be able to keep every rock out of the river, but we are establishing catchment areas adjacent to those slopes to try to catch the rocks as they come down. And I agree. I don't see a rock going in the river as an environmental threat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not going to dump the mountainside into the river and change the direction of the river, but goodness, to have those restrictions in place, it just adds exponentially to the cost of the projects and the timeline and all that. So those
That's
kind of things.
often what, yeah. I'm not sure that they recognize the amount of cost that it does add to the project, because that's still a long time. 5 years in construction is still a long period in construction. And adjusting the traffic control, we're going to have an aggressive public notification program. I'm sure we'll have on the radio, on TV. We need to reach out to all the folks that travel through this area to let them know these are the hours of closure, and anything we can do to accelerate construction of the project, we are going to be in favor of.
Yeah, we've done it before for fires, so I guess we'll do it again. Well, thank you, David.
You're welcome.
I have a question. This is Commissioner Greeno, Crescent City. This project's been a long time coming because of it's been fraught with lawsuits from different organizations, and because of the area it traverses. Have we heard any rumblings as of yet from groups whether they're going to contest this, or whether are we doing anything to mitigate the potential for like a lawsuit? Or is that not even going to be a problem with what we have proposed here?
I actually do not think it will be a problem, because we have a lot of momentum on this project. It is moving forward. It has support, of course, from everyone in our district. It also has support from people in Sacramento, pretty high level up there. I did receive a call from some guy, Friends of the River or something, and I told him that we've taken every precaution possible to try to limit any sort of impacts to the environment here. I can't even state that more. We have looked at every scenario and tried to minimize the impacts. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of opposition. I think that page has been turned, honestly.
Awesome. Thank you. Great to hear it.
And if you don't mind, my name is Jen Buck. I'm the office chief for project management in Caltrans, and we did discuss this with our legal team, who said that they feel like the risk is also very low to none. So we're pretty confident moving forward.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commission? All right. Well, thank you for your work on this. This, as I said, this project has been a long time coming, and it's really been a huge need for our community. Not having this road be able to be traversed by large trucks has not just made it dangerous for the large trucks, but for people traversing it on a daily basis. So,
More questions for Dave? That's
Yeah,
all
I
right.
think the project will really improve the safety, in particular at the Narrows location where you have the rock wall right there adjacent to the highway. I've noticed that the metal beam guardrail is almost squished flat from people rubbing up against it, and that's all going to change. I think we're going to have 4-foot shoulders at that location. We're moving that rock wall back 8 feet.
Wow.
So there will be a lot more room at that location.
Wow.
that's great to hear.
Right on.
Commissioner Short has one more question.
Yeah, Dave, you did mention that you're hoping to break ground in the spring. Is that all of the projects collectively? We're talking Ruby 2 and the bridge and all of that?
Yes,
Okay.
all of them.
Right on.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you, Dave.
I actually have another question also.
Commissioner Borges has a question.
Yeah, I just, well, after these are completed in the 5 years or whatever, will this lift the truck restrictions for the sizes of trucks being able to come across?
I don't think there would be any restrictions.
Okay.
It'll be
perfect.
designated as an STAA through freeway there,
Great.
highway.
It'll bring it up to.
Yeah, there should be no restrictions. Once this project's over, there should be no restrictions on federal trucks and other types of movement through this corridor.
We'll finally be able to join the rest of the country in modern road design. Yes, excellent.
That's right. I'm still looking for, I'm really happy we delivered this project. It's one that I've driven this route many times, traveling to and from Oregon and Washington. And, every time we drive this segment, we slow down and take our time because of all the curves and everything. I'm really happy for this project.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So am I. Tamara and I first started working on this project in 2007 when we pitched it to the California Transportation Commission in Sacramento. So finally glad to see some groundbreaking taking place in the spring.
Me too.
All right.
Thank you.
If there aren't any further comments or questions, is that everything from you?
Yes, that was what I.
All right. Thank you so much for your work on this. I guess we'll move on to our next item of discussion, which is the collision rates and safety on US 101 at Elk Valley Crossroads.
We have some members of our safety team here. I don't know who wants to start, but I'll just start by, sort of introducing this topic. The Del Norte Local Transportation Commission completed a planning document for all of Elk Valley Crossroad. It was called the Elk Valley Crossroad Corridor Plan, and it took a look at all of Elk Valley Crossroad. And while it's a very short road, it changes significantly as you travel through it. I mean, we have a school there. We have one end that has plenty of shoulder. We cross US 101, US 199, the connection to, then it crosses Parkway Drive to Elk Valley Road. I mean, it's just such an odd road. When we took a look at the collision rates for 199 and for 101 at Elk Valley Crossroad, they were very close. That when we did this document, and it really, sometimes it depends on the years that you select. Sometimes the US 101 collision rate is even higher than the 199 collision rate at Elk Valley Crossroad. So I've been keeping an eye on this and asking for collision rate updates here and there. And so this is the most recent data that I have, and I would just like everybody to know that we still have a very high collision rate here, but I'd also so I would like all of you to be strong advocates for safety improvements at this location, but I also, would like for Caltrans to share with all of us what they have in mind. So that's why I put this on the agenda, and the safety team jumped in and said, yeah, we'll attend this meeting, so I'm really grateful for that. So thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andreas Kraus. I'm the office chief for the Safe System Office. And Clark, who sits in my sister office, the Traffic Safety Office, has investigated this area, been looking into it. And so I'll turn this presentation over to Clark so he can talk about what he's found.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Clark Davis. I'm the traffic safety investigator for District 1. I am quite familiar with this area. I've investigated for the last 15, almost 20 years. I'm familiar with the entire history of it. And to address the comments that were just made, we agree the rates are higher than average. But I do have to say that we don't make decisions based on rates. We make decisions based on collisions that we have countermeasures for, that we can fund, and that can be constructed to reduce what's actually happening. And what we found at 101 and Elk Valley Crossroad is that most of the collisions involve drivers not seeing approaching traffic. And this is mostly due to the approaching traffic being blocked by another car. There's not a lot we can do about that. We can't make the cars invisible. It is true that a roundabout might solve this solution. In fact, it would solve the problem. However, the way funding is distributed at the moment, severity is required, unfortunately. And fortunately, there's no severity at this location, although there are conflicts and collisions. In the past, maybe 5 years ago or so, PDO collisions, property damage only, would have counted towards gaining some funding through the safety program. But that methodology has changed, and now the dollars are distributed based on severity. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on what your perspective is, there's no severity here. And so there's really no opportunity for funding a major project to construct something such as a roundabout. The best we can do is improve some signing and some delineation, which is what we're planning to do. Any other comments, questions?
Commissioner Short has one.
Yeah, years ago, Caltrans modified the 199 crossroad there at Elk Valley to bring it down to a single lane. They brought the stop signs way out into the roadway and really narrowed up that portion of road. And it had a significant impact, although it didn't, completely correct the collision problem, but it did have a big impact on how many collisions were there and the severity of them. So I was just wondering if Caltrans had considered doing the same kind of thing at Elk Valley Cross and 101. There's, it moves from a single lane to double lanes right at about that intersection. It seems like it would be a relatively easy fix to narrow up that intersection similar to 199. Just wondering if that has been considered.
Well, the improvement you've mentioned on 199 was actually my idea many, many years ago, and I'm proud that it actually worked. Thank you for noticing. We have looked at the stop bars that are existing on the 101 intersection, and they're as close as we can get them. To do what you're suggesting would require dropping a lane in both directions, and quite frankly, we did not consider that. At least I did not consider doing that.
Because you dropped a lane on 199 when you narrowed it up there too. Did you not?
No, we moved the stop bar forward in front of the turn pockets. is what we did.
Oh,
They used to be behind the turn pocket so that if someone was in the turn pocket, they could actually go straight through in front of the stop sign. And we moved the stop bar forward of that. And then put in some delineators to try and protect any cars that might be at the stop sign.
I could have swore when I was younger there was 4 lanes right there, but that's okay. Yeah, what I'm considering, or what I'm suggesting is dropping a lane. But I guess that would be my question.
Yeah, I did not consider that personally. I would have to discuss it with management to see if they're willing to do such a thing. And would it change anything? Probably. And it would definitely impact the flow of traffic and might give motorists a different view of what's going on. The real issue is when a vehicle slows, a vehicle on 101 slows to get into a turn pocket, the vehicle at the stop sign sees that vehicle slowing and turning and assumes that everything's okay, and they pull out only to discover that there was a car behind them that was hidden and is now accelerating towards them. Now, fortunately, there is enough sight distance that those vehicles are able to slow almost to a stop so that the collisions are not catastrophic.
In terms of dropping a lane, we can certainly investigate that some more. One of the issues, I believe this is officially a freeway section, and dropping a lane there would change its designation and it would no longer be a freeway. And I think that could be a complicating factor.
Yeah, I was just thinking there's plenty of width and length there for long turn pockets, which would be easily negotiated. But as far as the freeway designation, I don't know what complications that would bring, but thank you for considering it anyway.
Yeah, no, appreciate the presentation as always, and more importantly from a guy that's so deep into the data. Everything you point out is correct. I'm sorry to see the modeling for the severity piece changed. I wasn't aware that it had. And obviously, as you pointed out, a roundabout would be a credible way to solve this issue. We do, unlike on Elk Valley at 199, we do have a lot of right-of-way. We don't need to buy it in this case. There's plenty of room to do that. But in essence, and I know, I'm pretty sure you're aware of this, this is, as you're traveling north, everybody's racing, right? To get, everybody who's local is racing to get first to that one lane that it narrows down to. And then everybody who's southbound, all of a sudden, the gates are open, they speed up, and it's a race on the 2-lane. And you get this perfect storm right in the middle, especially during the going home hours or the going to work hours in this location, and it is a mess. So the suggestions that Commissioner Short brought forward could be a potential solution without a tremendous amount of cost to the department. So yeah, let's take a look at that, because what we did at 199 and Elk Valley did seem to have an impact. It didn't resolve the issue by any stretch of the imagination, but it did seem to have an impact.
This is Dave Melendres again. I did have a quick comment on this discussion, and I'm not sure if it's pertinent to what you're looking at, but we do have a roundabout project there, right at Elk Valley and 199. That is getting ready to advertise in December. And part of that effort is to restripe the parkway where it comes into 199. And at the roundabout, we will be dropping the lanes, particularly the southbound lanes from 199 towards 101. That will become one lane. We will drop a couple of those lanes because we can't have currently right at Parkway, there's 3 lanes that merge right before Elk Valley. We can't have 3 lanes merging into a roundabout. We can only have 1 lane. So we're actually planning to restripe that area. If I could share my screen real quick, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but just real quick, I just want to share this so that you can see what we're proposing. And not sure. I mean, I could give a presentation on this also. Let's see if I can get this to share. So this is our current layout for that roundabout right here. And as you can see, we're going to merge. This is 3 lanes currently. We're going to merge that down to 1 lane. And as well as west, or I guess that'd be northbound, that also will be merged down to 1 lane. And then we are trying to find, I believe we settled on this configuration here for turning movements. For instance, Parkway Drive, we're saying you can't take a left-hand turn out of it anymore because we have to narrow those lanes. Yeah, there's only going to be a right-hand turning movement on here and on here. So this configuration will change. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but that's what we're proposing. This project will be in construction next spring also. But yeah, that's what we're proposing. I don't know if that answers your question, but at least it gives a little bit more information on what we see as the future traffic movements at this location.
But Dave, just to clarify, we're talking about the Highway 101 intersection.
Oh, you're talking west of this.
We're talking about the Highway 101 intersection, not the 199 intersection.
Oh,
So if you could
I'm
just,
sorry.
if you could just
I'm
copy
sorry.
and paste the roundabout and and put another one on 101.
I'd like to.
I mean, we
I
just
like
heard a
roundabout.
roundabout would solve the problem. Can we have one, please?
All we're missing is a funding source.
Yeah.
We'll work on that for you guys.
I mean, maybe as a community, we could come together and help with that funding source. I'll do a little bit of poking around and see if I can come up with anything, and working with traffic safety and maybe something through planning. I don't know what we could do there, but I'll do a little bit of poking around on that. I did want to mention regarding the freeway designation for that area, if we could just move that 2-lane where it becomes a freeway, just, a quarter mile, even half mile closer to Crescent City, that would give us the room that we need to reduce the lanes. And if we slowed the traffic down through that, then it would be 2.5 miles rather than 3 miles of freeway. We can drive 55 through there. It's not that big of a deal if we have to slow all the speeds down to 55, but we succeed in reducing the serious injuries and fatalities, which the injury fatality rate is still 217% of the statewide average. So that, while that may not be a significant data point for Caltrans, it seems like one to me. So, I'll continue to poke around on this, maybe keep it on the agenda for regular updates.
Good deal. If I could interrupt this conversation, I thought Dave dropped off the conversation, but going back to our last conversation about the 199, 197 project, Dave, we just received an email from a constituent, guy who runs a local trucking company. He was just asking if for the working with the closure of 199, 197, he's asking that maybe a query of local trucking companies be conducted. He says if you could adjust that closure by just an hour, they can get over to the Medford area and back and not be affected by the closure. And I don't know, maybe it's possible, maybe it's not, but I thought it was just a decent ask that maybe we could reduce our commercial traffic that's held up by the closures when the time comes. Just wanted to pass on that message to you, and I apologize for interrupting the conversation about 101 and Elk Valley.
So back to Elk Valley Crossroad intersection with 101, I did just double check, and it's a expressway, not a freeway. We will definitely look into what we can do with a possible lane drop for that intersection. Basically, because the collisions that we're having at that intersection are low severity, there's not going to be safety funding available to do any kind of major reconstruction work there, such as an R-cut or a roundabout, as was recommended by the Del Norte plans as alternatives to consider. So we're limited to what we can do with a much smaller pot of money, and so we can look into if a lane drop there is possible and what we might be able to do to that. So we will do that.
Specifically, as this is in my district, we would appreciate any movement towards reducing the collision rate. So this being a first step, and maybe one that could be more expedited because of the cost. Again, if we fall through on Supervisor Short's suggestion, let's do that. But long-term, we do need to be focused on a similar project as we have on 199 and Elk Valley Cross at this location on 101 and Elk Valley Cross.
Any further discussion on this? All right. With that, thank you guys for the discussion on the update on that. We'll move on to our bollards concept on US 199 in Hyuchi and Gasky discussion item.
So let me share my screen. Last packet. So I was at the last chance grade meeting in Oric, and I saw these bollards, and they prevent people from using the two-way left turn lane as a passing. So there are brakes in the bollards as you're driving through Oric. I saw that, and oh my gosh, that might work for Highway 199 through Hyuchi and Gasky. It's certainly a low-cost solution. It's something to try, and Caltrans team told me that they were going to check in with the emergency vehicles and see how the emergency vehicles work with those, and if they're, if it's going to work in the long run, trying it in Oric first. But I really am interested in seeing if this is a potential solution for the US 199 in Hyuchi and Gasky, where we just have so many community complaints about the speeds of traffic, especially in the summer, going through those communities. So it allows for turning movements, proper turning movements in the two-way left turn lane without using that lane as passing. I saw this and I just thought it was brilliant. Simple solution that might work for those two communities.
So are those metal poles?
No,
What are
they're
those?
plastic.
They're plastic?
Yeah, I think
They're
you could.
flexible plastic posts that will bend over if you hit them. So they are not a fixed object,
Okay.
but they are, as Tamara said, they are exactly intended to prevent passing while still allowing the function of a center turn lane for all the turning movements. And Oric is the first place in the district that we piloted this. A common complaint we hear from districts all across, or from communities all across our district, is that people are using these center turn lanes as passing lanes. And that's not legal, but they're still doing it. And so this was a pilot to see if something like this would help. And we have a couple other projects already programmed in the district where we're going to do something similar. I think for Gasky, this would be this could be an ideal solution for Gasky. For Hyuchi, I would caution against doing that in Hyuchi. Hyuchi has very wide shoulders and a lot of different, you got parking and people making U-turns and pedestrians and cyclists all mixing together. People using the center turn lane as a passing is just one of the issues there. I would much rather I'd like to see a more integrated solution there, and I think that's something that the community should be working to develop a community plan for what they would like to see there. You have so much real estate between the center turn lanes, and extremely wide shoulders. They're 24, 25 feet wide. So there's a lot that you could do in Hayuchi. But to do that, we really need the community to step up and develop a vision and a plan for what they'd like their community to see there. Maybe one exists, a community plan. I have not seen it. I'm not aware of one if it does exist.
This is the first I've heard of a community plan creating an integrated solution for safety. If you have a sample of one, I would love to have a sample of one. If you have.
Well, for instance, like what Oric did. I mean, what Oric has a community plan that they put together back in 2012. And so when we put together this project that put these flexible posts in the center, we referenced that community plan. We could see where they're trying to go with that community plan, and we integrated as best we could with that community plan. So we couldn't do all the hardscaping and other things that they wanted to do, at least not with this funding pot, which is it's a quick build and it has a lot of limitations to it. But we did work in and around and with that community plan, and things like proposing possibly bike lanes or something like that. That's not in Oric, since you have so much pavement area already. It's essentially a relatively cheap project because it would be signing and striping and maybe some of these plastic devices. You could do a lot with very cheaply there, but it's one of those things where the community needs to support it, and we don't have any plan from the community that shows us what they're looking for, and it takes time and effort to develop those. I think a plan for Hayuchi, I think there's a lot that we could do there, but that's something where I'd really like to see a community plan be developed first. And Tatiana could speak more to how community plans are developed. For Gasky is different. The community's on the edges of the highway, and the highways, it's basically a divided community, and there's just a couple of crossing points and some driveways. Gasky, these types of channelizers in the center turn lane, I do see them as very applicable there. I don't think we would need a community plan. I think that's something that we could just move forward with if the board is in support of pursuing such a project. But Hayuchi, I think needs a little bit more consideration.
The ORIC plan was funded through the Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program, but other options are using RPA funds through the OWP.
Right. Okay, do we have any further discussion on this? Nope. Okay. Well, with that, do you guys have anything else for us online?
So, because this was one of your agenda items, is there a request for Caltrans to put the bollards in through Gasky? Is that something that you would like to look into initiating?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's worth looking into for sure.
Okay, will do.
And I can attend a Gasky community meeting and share this photo and talk to the community about it. I think the folks in Gasky who attend those community meetings, including a highway patrol officer who lives up there, I think they would all be positive about this, but I'll have a conversation with them within the next month. I don't know exactly when their meetings are scheduled, but I'll have a conversation with them, and so it doesn't come as a surprise. But Andreas, thank you for offering that, and I think it could be a very good solution. In terms of Hayuchi, we did some active transportation planning for Hayuchi, gosh, probably 10, 15 years ago now, long time ago, 12 years ago, and the community was not united in the way that they wanted treatments for Hayuchi, and that was part of the reason why nothing went forward there. But my understanding is that they are more united now than they used to be. So I will pull up that old, I think it was an active transportation plan for the Hayuchi community. I'll pull up that old plan, take another look at it. I can share it with you all so you can see where we were then and some of the objections. From memory, most of the objections had to do with truck parking at the Hayuchi Hamlet. But I think as the problem gets worse, they have become more flexible about their concerns about the truck parking in front of their business, but I'll have some conversations. Chris can get in contact with them.
And I certainly can too, but we have new owners there now, as you're probably aware, so we'll see if they even have an opinion on it yet. But that is correct. It had to do with parking of large semis within that area between the store and the highway. That was the major concern for those businesses. It doesn't allow for great visibility for those turning out onto the highway, so getting the traffic slow through Hayuchi, obviously the legislation that is sitting right now in the Senate Finance Committee, waiting for its blessing to go to the governor's desk, may help. But, I mean, again, that's a lot of enforcement action on 199. This project that we're talking about that is piloted in Oric, I think is an excellent solution for both locations. So I think you guys, we need to put our minds together on how best to address it in this area. Because this, I think, is an excellent working solution for these two locations.
And it could work in Hayuchi too, but it will change the character of how that stretch of road is used. I've been out there with Tamara, and people are whipping U-turns all across that area. There's a lot of things going on. As soon as you put these in there, it's going to affect that, and we just want to make sure that there's community support for whatever's done. And because there's so many other issues, there's the parking on the shoulders, double parking on the shoulders.
Yep.
Bicycles and pedestrians, everything. Having an integrated plan that pulls it all together is really the ideal solution for Hayuchi.
Understood, but I mean, I think my predecessor, Mike Sullivan, and Tamara tried to deal with this, and we've been waiting for a solution long enough. I just don't believe the enforcement effort, even if we get this legislation through, is going to resolve what we need to do, which is reduce the speed in that specific corridor. But let's work on it together.
All right.
Well, on a positive note for that, we are just kicking off an update to our active transportation plan. And I may be able to work with a consultant who was just awarded a contract to adjust the scope of work or continue the work, something to use that funding that we have right now to put a focus in the Hayuchi area and see if we can have some community meetings, an engineer involved, and get something sooner rather than later in there. So I'll see what I can do. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the discussion, and looks like we might see something come out of this to hopefully get things slowed down and a little safer in those areas. Anything further from the commission? You guys have anything further online? Doesn't look like it. All right, we'll bring it back to the commission. Any comments of general nature from the commission? Nope. Okay. Nope. Well, we will adjourn as the policy. What?
Oh,
Does Tasha have?
Oh,
Yeah.
Tasha, do you have anything?
I do. Is that okay? I just
Yeah.
have a couple of updates.
I apologize.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for the opportunity. I wanted to talk about the Clean California funding. I think an email went out to all of you. This is new funding to support litter abatement and public space beautification efforts on locally owned right-of-way. It's focused on creating workforce development opportunities for individuals facing barriers to employment, The application period will be about a month and the grant timeline will be about 1 year. So local agencies submitting applications will work with Caltrans District to submit applications, and local agencies and tribal governments are eligible applicants. There's $25 million statewide, and the guidelines with the application template should be out today. We've been waiting for a week now, but today was supposed to be the day, so we'll see. So more to come. The welcome signs, we talked about this at our previous meeting. As you know, we ran into manufacturing delays. Thank you to those of you who responded to my email with suggestions for paths forward, but we think we've overcome the design issues. A contractor has signed a contract and the monument will be going in. They'll be out there to pour the foundations and paving. And then I'll continue to keep you updated monthly when there are other key milestones, but that's moving along. The Collier Tunnel Safety Roadside Recreation Area closures, we also talked about that at a previous meeting, and I followed up in an email on July 7th that talked about the issues we're facing with the complicated wastewater system and mechanical pumps. We will explore coming back to this group with a longer term solution when that is available, but I wanted to follow up. The SHOP 10-year plan survey, we received 4 survey responses from agencies in Del Norte County, so thank you for those of you who provided feedback. Our asset manager will be responding to the comments we received, so you can expect to see that in the coming weeks, probably by the end of this month. The project list that you saw may be changing slightly, and that's because Caltrans was notified this month that we will be receiving new performance plans that are based on the STIP fund estimate, which is less than 16% than last cycle. Since the funding for reservation projects, safety and emergency will continue to be funded off the top of the SHOP. So statewide emergency project needs have been increasing and is now the second highest need in the SHOP, just behind pavement. So what you saw in that list that we shared may change slightly, but we'll be sending you that shortly and you'll get to see that. The district transit plan is underway and that will identify transit needs on the state highway system. Caltrans will be launching a location-based survey during focus groups with transit partners this month. So more to come on that. Del Norte Local Transportation Commission and Redwood Coast Transit Authority are both going to be included in that. And last, the last chance grade coffee with Caltrans event happened on August 22nd. It was well attended, but it sounds like we can do more to improve on getting the word out next time. So we'll be working on that, but more events are being planned. And that's all, unless there are any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I do. I want to go back to your original Beautify California piece. How flexible are those funds outside the state right away?
You know, I don't know a ton about it. I think we're still waiting on some of those details with the guidelines that are coming out. But Preston Allen and Scott Elsmore in local assistance and planning are taking the lead on that. So we'll definitely be able to follow up with more of those specific questions once we have that.
I know the county has some areas identified that are in need of significant help. This could prove perfect timing if we could dive into that a little deeper. I'd appreciate it. So maybe if you could send Tamara the contacts for those 2 individuals, I could follow up with them at a later date.
Jessica.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tasha, Jessica is also looking into this. The county staff had similar questions in the TAC meeting. So I think Jessica Gibbs is already following up and
even better.
And finding
Sounds
answers.
like she's on it too. Okay, beautiful.
Great.
Thank you, Tasha.
Thanks.
Okay. With that, we will move on to adjourn as the Policy Advisory Committee and then reconvene as the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission. And I'm looking for a motion to approve and adopt the actions that we have just taken.
I'll move to approve those actions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we will bring it back to the commission for a vote.
Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Borges,
Yes.
Commissioner Dooley,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Short,
Yes.
Chair Greeno.
Yes, thank you. And with that, we will adjourn as the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission till Tuesday, October 7th at 3 p.m.
And
Thank you, everybody.
And we will be needing to meet next month. You're all wondering, because sometimes we miss, but I already know we'll need to meet.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.